What would have the same effect and energizing driving force for more traditional communities, and particularly where white working class boys don't see the point, he said. Well, maybe if you listened to the manosphere, you might understand. They don't want to understand. They don't want to. He advocated schools signposting more work experience and apprenticeship opportunities so that pupils see the relationship between experience of work in something they're interested in and their continuance in engaging with education. And he called for New Labor's Sure Start program to be rejuvenated. After spending on it fell by more than 2/3 and many centers closed or were scaled back. New Labor's Sure Start program. So the Sure Start program was a failure, apparently, which is pretty funny to me. Sure Start centers for disadvantaged areas offer early years learning, health and family support services, and have been shown to boost pupils' grades years later. Send them to indoctrination sooner. That is childcare. They're like, help, 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 the brainwashing isn't working anymore. In 2024, 73.7% of GCSE entries from girls achieved at least a grade 4, a standard pass, in comparison with 67.1% of entries from boys. If there's anybody in the chat from England that could explain to the rest of us GCSE, I think that might be the test that you take. Is that the test you take when you're 16? Let me know in the chat. I could just ask my cousin, but I'm asking you guys. In addition, universities accepted around 44,000 fewer male students than female. Blunkett, who was blind from birth, was from a deprived family and lost his father aged 12 in an industrial accident at work. Okay. Oh, we're just talking about the end of, that's the end? Okay. In addition, universities accepted around 44,000 fewer male students than female. And they're just talking about Lord Blunkett. And then he studied part-time at a technical college, winning a place at the University of Sheffield, where he studied politics. Well, he sounds like the perfect one to tell boys that they're a waste of space. I am so tired of this, delete all men. Men are wastes of space. It is the reason they're having this problem in the first place, is that they keep telling you guys that you're doing masculinity wrong, that you're toxic. Not to mention the fact that those teenage girls have access to all the men in the world. So when they're on Instagram and they're getting all these likes and all this attention, do you think that they care about the boys in their classrooms? No, they're too good for that. Also, the girls, let's talk about the girls instead of blaming the boys for everything. Like we blame men for everything. The girls are looking to get rich themselves. They want to, it's not just rich, they want to be powerful and they want to have luxury. So obviously money is the way to do that in their little minds. So they're like, I'm not going to get married for a long time. I don't want children. Right? What I've learned from you guys is that even the younger, teenage guys, a lot of them are thinking, oh, I'd like to have a family one day, etc. Now, that was, maybe a few generations back. They're probably getting to the point when they're teenagers, they're not even wanting that. Why? What have they been raised seeing? They've been raised seeing all of this man hate, basically. That's all they've experienced. It's everywhere. And many of them have been raised by single mothers in broken homes, and they've either been alienated from their fathers, or they at least don't have contact with their father a lot, which feels like an abandonment. So you have these boys that are like, I don't know if I hate my dad or I miss my dad or any of that. That does not help him grow up and think, I'd like to have a family one day. And even if he does grow up and think that, like I said, these girls are like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my career. I don't even know if I want children, etc. So who's the problem here? Is it really the boys? I will tell you, and you can think that I'm a hammer, therefore everything's a nail. But if the boys are the problem, then somebody created that. And it wasn't them. It wasn't. I would say that if there are some boys that are growing up and they're not even looking for a family, they're not even looking for any of that, they're already in a state of depression, basically. Why? We need to ask ourselves why. Nobody's asking why. These people don't ask why because they know the answer. They know the answer. They didn't give any possible reasons why this might be occurring, which is telling. It isn't just the lies they outwardly tell. It isn't just boys are a waste of space. It's what else are they not saying? What are they not telling you? They're not telling you that men would prefer a woman who is feminine. They would prefer a woman who defers to them. They would prefer a woman who is nurturing the way a mother should be. They would prefer that. They would prefer a woman that was just theirs, that didn't belong to, a million men before him and all the men on the internet. That's what they would prefer. And they're shamed for that. That's toxic masculinity.